Man City 0, Tottenham 2. What is going on? That was embarrassing. That was abysmal defensively speaking. I don't know how you win a Premier League title with that kind of home form against a side like Tottenham. They're not an elite side. They're just below that. They're a Champions League side. They were absolutely fantastic, and they did the simple things very, very well and opened City up in big moments throughout the game. It could have been 3 or 4-0. Let's be completely real. Abysmal defensive performance. The keeper, big issue there. Big issue with the defensive midfielder, with Nico Gonzalez, with the centre-backs. Aït-Nouri's got injured. It is a terrible start to the season now, because I was massively positive after the Wolves win. A tricky away day, opening game fixture for Man City. First home game. Show some bravery, show some quality that we never really saw last season at Man City. And whatever you say about Reinders, had little pockets of moments in the first 20 minutes, little moments of space to create chances. Cherki as well, Marmoush. No real quality. Oscar Bob was invisible today. And you have to give massive credit to Tottenham, because it doesn't happen in a vacuum. Tottenham were superb defensively. They were athletic. They were brave. This is the second clean sheet they've kept. Back-to-back clean sheets. I mean, this is basically the same side that Thomas Frank inherited from Ange Postecoglou, who kept 6 clean sheets all season. And they're already a third of the way through that this season with Thomas Frank. They were absolutely superb. And you have to say, if you remember back to the treble-winning season for Guardiola, one of the rare losses in that campaign, because there were very few, very few. One of them was Brentford under Thomas Frank. Long balls into the likes of Ivan Toney, and Brentford won that game in the Premier League at home against City at the Etihad. And it's very similar. Tottenham today, every ball out to the right-hand side was absolutely superb. It was worked to perfection. It wasn't as simple as just playing a long ball into Kudus. At points, Sarr was getting this long ball, winning flick-ons into Richarlison, and that's how their goal came about. We're going to break down all the goals. Make sure you subscribe if you're new, would really appreciate it. We're going to break down where this leaves both sides. I thought in the first 20 minutes it was decent from City. It was definitely the best part of the game with the first 20 minutes, and then it completely fell apart. I thought Reinders had a decent spell. Marmoush was isolating Porro one-on-one, burnt him a couple of times, which is the one positive from this game you have to say, is that Marmoush and Haaland found each other a few times. Haaland bullied Udogie, I think it was, and managed to fire a ball into Marmoush, and Marmoush missed basically a sitter, but there is a bit of a relationship forming there. I think Erling Haaland, when he gets the ball in dangerous areas, will find Marmoush coming in from the left. That's a relationship that still has to be developed, because Marmoush didn't really play there last season, and I think a lot of City fans saw him as a central kind of striker coming off of Erling Haaland. For me, he was always a left winger anyway, so that is one small positive. I'm not gassing it up too much. Apart from that, Reinders had a chance where he could have shot, and he flicked it into Cherki, I think it was. Cherki trying too many flicks, in my honest opinion. Oscar Bob was largely anonymous, I'd say, and not enough control. I think at points, top-level City sides under Guardiola, if you can't create a chance against a robust back line like Mickey van der Ven and Romero offer you, then keep the ball, strangle the life out of the game, make it a 1-0 kind of win, try and aim for that. It's too exciting at points, it's too open defensively, and it caused a lot of issues for the likes of James Trafford and the centre-backs today. Let's just talk about the goal, because it was brilliantly worked. Again, Sarr was making these long runs. It's very reminiscent of what Ivan Toney did very well for Thomas Frank against City many years ago. And he flicks it on into Richarlison, who plays a great ball into Brennan Johnson, who is very effective at arriving in the back post. You have to say City were weakened because Aït-Nouri got injured. Would it have happened, that kind of goal, in the same kind of way? Because the pace of Aït-Nouri, we don't know. John Stones slipped as well. Of course, they couldn't just give it as a goal. Had to be a VAR check when it was a very basic, simple decision. There we go. It was a perfectly good goal. And from that point on, I had no vision of City getting back into the game. That is the real concerning thing, because you look at Liverpool against Bournemouth, opening game of the season at home. Bournemouth are going to cause you issues. Spurs are far better than Bournemouth. But you have to say, Liverpool always felt like they could get back in the game against Bournemouth when they were equalising 2-2. You're 1-0 down, 35 minutes into the game. I didn't see anything, really. I really didn't see anything. Yes, there were some chances. Erling Haaland had a couple of sitters, but it never felt like City were able to get back into the game, show the same level of energy, of intensity that Tottenham were. Tottenham wanted to win this game. Tottenham were fighting tooth and nail to win this fixture, and that's something you could argue last season they showed they were unable to do in the Premier League with the amount of losses that they had. They rolled over easy Tottenham. despite the fact they beat City 4-0 in this fixture last season. But this Tottenham side, robust, dynamic. You have to give them all the credit in the world. You really do. Then it's 2-0 from Paulinho, who I thought was absolutely superb in that midfield, dictated things at points, and it's a James Trafford mistake. I said on this channel after the Wolves game, I thought James Trafford had a great performance, a clean sheet away from home. With someone like Larson up top, it's a difficult place to go for a new keeper. It's just come out of the Championship. It's a whole different world being a keeper in the Championship. It really is. Same physicality, arguably. You're still going up against massive lads that are 6'4" strikers, but the quality, the speed, the intensity, it's hard to play out from the back. Ederson, that's why I think Ederson's one of the most underrated keepers of all time in the Premier League, because he's always under pressure, Ederson. He never made... I can't really recall too many times he's made that kind of mistake. And he's been at the club for, 7, 8, 9 years. James Trafford, 2 games in, has made a mistake that was shocking, because there are 2 different ways of looking at it. Sometimes you get intercepted by someone that's enacting a really high press. You get caught out, trying to kick it out long, whatever, and it can sometimes rebound into the net. His decision-making into Nico Gonzalez was absolutely shocking. Actually, if you re-watch it, the pass doesn't even make Nico Gonzalez's feet. I mean, he's wide a yard of Nico Gonzalez, and that bounces into Paulinho, who hits it hard and true, and it goes into the back of the net. It's really shocking stuff. I thought Diaz and Stones looked shaky today. Talks of Akanji going to Galatasaray when any injury to those two, which is highly likely with John Stones, world of pain. Who comes in to replace John Stones? Rico Lewis didn't have a bad game today, but when Ait-Nouri goes off, it is just a flat back four. Very, very vulnerable. Nico Gonzalez couldn't quite cover the ground. Rodri had to come on to try and rectify things. Didn't have a bad performance. Had a chance as soon as he came on. A good save from Vicario, but this City side lack star power, lack world-class players. I can't believe I'm saying that, because I think Erling Haaland is superb. But he's missing 2 chances. Anytime there's pressure on Haaland to not miss a chance, he misses it, and it's really frustrating. Against Tottenham, they're always going to give you chances, and even a 2-2 draw is salvageable. 4 points from 6, it's decent, but to lose at home, it just opens the door for another season of not winning major silverware. You can't win anything with Trafford, Stones, Diaz in this kind of form. Something really has to change, in my honest opinion. I know it's only 2 weeks in, but it is very concerning defensively speaking. You're looking at maybe Savinho leaving, Rodrigo coming in, those kind of links. I think City need another centre-back. I mean, it's crazy with Kujanov, who came in for big money as well. Victor Rice has been loaned out. Akanji potentially leaving as well. But it's really concerning. The midfield is very, very flat. I thought Reinder's very, very quiet today. He's now understood what a Premier League game really means, because Wolves, I like Wolves a lot, but they've got a very thin squad. Tottenham at home is a serious Premier League fixture of the highest quality. Today, Saar, Paulinho, Bentancur were almost running rings around Reinders. Reinders' end product was nowhere near good enough. Same with Cherky as well. He looked a touch off of it in terms of his physical intensity in the game, I thought. A touch off of it. Oscar Bob quiet today as well. There's just not enough from the bench. I can't believe I'm saying that. But Jeremy Doku, for me, I don't rate him to get you back into this kind of game. Bernardo Silva, Phil Foden's coming back. It's hard to sort of expect him to get you back into a winning position from 2-0 down. It's just very, very flat, and I think something has to change, whether that's formation, whether that's bringing Rodri, just risking him and bringing him back with Nico, 4-2-3-1, having more control, dropping Cherky, playing Reinders as a 10, and having a little bit more control. But something has to give for Pep Guardiola, because it's either control and winning in a ruthless kind of way, which we saw in the Centurion season, the domestic treble season. It's been many years since that, and the treble winning season was utter control, utter physical dominance. Now there's a lack of physical dominance, especially in that midfield. There's a lack of star power. No David Silva, no Aguero, no De Bruyne. A lot of these players have to catch up to that level, and they're a million miles off. And then you're looking, if you're going to be rubbish and just be flat and sit back at home and try and nick a result, which a lot of Ferguson sides did throughout the years, Mourinho sides, they had Drogba, Van Persie, Rooney, Ruud van Nistelrooy, all these strikers. Haaland is of that caliber in terms of his record, and you're looking for better. The header 6 yards out. I mean, it's just so frustrating. I mean, Gary Medine would have scored that. It's really frustrating. There we go. I have to just round off with Spurs. Disappointment this week with Eberechi Eze. They definitely need added quality into this squad. The Champions League campaign is going to be long, arduous. They've already got injuries to Kulusevski and Maddison. But you have to say, Thomas Frank managing big egos. It's a big big football club, a lot of fan outrage towards the owners, and he has just compressed all of this emotion, and he is pragmatic, and he has made tactical tweaks within the game that has matched Pep Guardiola. It is a result of the highest standard from Tottenham today. It wasn't a snatch and grab. It wasn't parking the bus and hoping for the best. It was astute managerial decision-making of the highest level. Dare I say it, it was Champions League level managerial decision-making from Thomas Frank today, and it puts him in the caliber of one of the best managers in world football to do that at the Etihad against a poor City side. But you have to give your flowers when they're due. It's a Spurs side that looks really powerful, really confident with what Thomas Frank's given the players to do, and they kept a clean sheet. It's incredible. They look very, very good. Can they keep it up to do bigger things than last season in terms of winning the Europa League? Is a big question mark, particularly with the Champions League. But Spurs were the best side for 80% of this game. Simple as that. And City have got a lot of work to do. It's really, really frustrating. Just the simple things, just like keeping the ball, not risking it, not risking the kind of the hazard pass. Don't risk it. Keep possession. Push Spurs back. That was happening for the first 20 minutes, and then it just completely went. It completely went. It's hard. It's very, very hard. Maybe that Spurs the City higher-ups to put in more energy in the transfer market. Maybe it's Donnarumma. Maybe that's another centre-back. I hate sitting there and saying there has to be more transfer activity, but you still feel this City side, one of the youngest to have played in the Premier League for the last 15 years, by the way, since 2010, needs a lot of development, a lot of little tweaks of not risking it, not losing the ball, not being susceptible to counter-attacks, because that will happen against Bournemouth at home. That will happen against Fulham at home. Manchester United coming up soon. That will happen to Leeds United at home. And that is the big concern. Something has to change. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. 2-0 loss at home to Spurs. Make sure you subscribe if you watch this far. I would really appreciate it. I'll see you very, very soon.